When little Johnny grows up, all he can dream of is to one day become the President of the United States. But he knows that won't be an easy task for him to accomplish. He is aware that there's a complex political process that will take him years to accomplish his goal, but he knows what he has to do. The first step in the presidential election process is most often to make a name for yourself in the political arena, in some lower form. Did you know that nearly all presidents elected thus far were either a former governor, representative, or a congressman? And it goes in turn that nearly all of them had to start at lower levels as well. In American politics, Johnny would also need to align himself with a political party. In the US, there are two key groups of political parties. There are the major parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, who are by far the largest and are for the most part in control of all the seats in both the Senate and the House, as well as the presidency. However, in addition to the two major parties, there are a plethora of minor parties. These minor parties, while small in following, can quite often play a hand in elections, many times by influencing the campaigns of the two major parties, and at the very least they can steal away votes from one of the other major party, which can in turn play a hand in which party wins that state. So now let's fast forward a few years where our little Johnny has made it in politics. And in fact, he's made it to the point where he can even enter his party's primary election. Now this primary election is sort of a precursor to the presidential election. The purpose of these primaries are for the two major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, to select their candidates to be put forth towards presidency. The winner of this so-called primary election then becomes that party's candidate for the presidential election. After a long campaign, Johnny has claimed victory in his primary election. That puts him one step closer to becoming the president as he has always dreamed of being. The journey had only just begun for Johnny, however, as now his most daunting challenge yet lay before him. In order to win the election, Johnny traveled around the country in order to introduce his campaign to the electorate, which are all of the voting eligible people in a country. He needs to travel all around the nation because the president, unlike for state representatives, are elected by the Electoral College, which casts the vote of a state towards the candidate who received the most votes in that state. The Electoral College is a system set up by our founding fathers in which states with a higher population could have an equally higher say in these presidential elections. Florida, for example, being one of the more populated states, has 28 electoral votes, while less populated states such as Wyoming have only 3. At the close of his campaign, Johnny had won enough states in order to receive enough of those electoral votes that he was able to win his election, and now he is the president. Congratulations, Johnny.